Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight, we got a good one here. We have the Checkered Flag Auto Supply Scrambler Series at the Milwaukee Mile. It should be a good one here. We have the Gen 4 cars, which have abundant amount of power under them. It's going to be interesting who can put that power down at this very flat track here. James Skelton walking away with quick time here in practice. We'll see who can walk away with the pole award here as we head on over to qualifying. We will see who is rolling off of pit road. Looks like first car rolling would be the bridesmaid of last week, Zach Mitchell here in the number 8 machine, rolling out to the speedway here tonight. Just like all the previous events, folks, 2-lap qualifying, taking the best time here in qualifying. That will, of course, determine the starting order for 100 laps here tonight. As Zach Mitchell heads off at turn 4, heads to the stripe. The 8 machine is on the clock. He'll dive it down into turn 1. And with the speed here tonight, I think we'll see some drivers kind of entering high, kind of like we see Mitchell, and then try and drive as close to that white paint line on the bottom as they can. Here, this looks like a pretty good lap from the number 8 here, lap number 1. If I was a betting man, I would have to say lap number 1 is where it's going to be at as Mitchell crosses the stripe. Lap number 1 in the books. He will go with a 29.88. That is a great first lap here. That's going to be tough to beat. Mitchell a little bit loose there off of turn number 2 here. Down the backstretch for the final time. And you can see here, if you hit all your marks right, we go sub 30-second laps around the Milwaukee Mile. And of course here, mile distance, this a old horse track converted to a racetrack and hasn't looked back since, as Mitchell finishes up qualifying. Last time by was a 0-2, so not good enough. Looks like Trevarthen gonna hit the reset here. Daryl good enough for P number 3. Sean Single to P number 4. As the 2 machine, Mike Trevarthen rolling off of pit road here. Looks like most people taking a time. Oh, as Jeffrey Souza jumps up to P number 3 there. Ethan Troutman also slots in P number 4, so that moves Terriel all the way down to P number 5. Of course, Terriel, last week's winner at the road course. I bet most of these guys excited to be back on an oval, but here at Milwaukee, you either really like this place or really hate it. This thing, very difficult to drive because of these flat corners. You can drive it in there fairly deep, but you got to blow up this car for that apex to get these things to turn, and then got to race with an egg under that right foot with the power these things have. These things 900 plus horsepower, so all the power you could ever dream of. Makes it for a fun time behind the wheel, but a difficult one of that, as we see Trevarthen loose off of turn number 4 this first lap. Probably not going to be exactly what he wants. First lap in the books with a 30.20. It looks like that will do it, so I think Trevarthen may have got a lap there early on, and that was the only lap that will count for the number 2. Here we go, looking at the 61 Kellogg's machine. This is Dalton Williamson, last winner on a short track. I know this track a mile long, it technically isn't a short track, but it sure as heck drives like one. As here we go, Dalton Williamson at the stripe. He goes on the clock here at Milwaukee. So this guy could be a guy to watch as picking up the win last time at a short track. And like I said, this place drives like one, so Williamson should be able to use up all his short track racing skills here as he heads down to turns number 3 and 4 for the first time here on the clock. Comes off of turn number 4. Looks like a pretty good lap. This should throw him right around the top 5. Is Williamson the first lap in the book? No, only good for P number 11. So He will look for a little bit more time at the end of qualifying here. He will dive it down, aim for that white line, get a piece of the rumble strip there, and off of turn number 4 for the final time, Dalton Williamson will come. He will improve to P number 8 in the 61 machine, so finding a little bit more speed that final lap, and that will do it here for qualifying. And Zach Mitchell walking away with the pole award here tonight at Milwaukee. Yeah, Brandon, I agree. Good luck to these drivers and see who can tame this tricky track, as it's going to be a fun one. 100 laps of distance. Let's head on over trackside to head with tonight's Celeratus Legal starting lineup. Zach Mitchell, like we talked about, got to see his pole lap in the 8. He will be leading the field to green and hoping to finish one spot better here tonight. Got the pole last week, so 2 poles in a row for that number 8 machine. To his outside, this guy is hungry for another win. It is the 86 machine of James Skelton. Then we head up to row number 2. Rolling off P number 3 will be the 4 car of Jeffrey Souza, and to his outside will be the 62 of Ethan Troutman. The 01 of Richard Murdoch will round out the top 5. Rolling off P number 6 will be the 42 of Max Theriault. And if I had to guess, I would say he won't be there for long here tonight. Rolling off P number 7 will be Chris Hammett in the 6. And to his outside will be the 61 of Dalton Williamson, rolling off P number 8. Then we have the 11 car of Sean Single in spot number 9. And rounding out the top 10 will be the 38 machine of Brandon Feeney. Then we head back to P number 11 will be the 45 of Ben Coltis, and Michael Trevarthen in the number 2 will roll off 12th. 13th will be the 81 of Ken Allen. 14th will be the 13 of Josh Buckley. 15th will be the 40 of Rob Higgins. 16th will be Bob Higgins now in the 30. And starting shotgun on the field here tonight will be the number 3 machine of Tony Strano. So that will do it for the Celeratus Legal starting lineup. The field getting ready to rock and roll, and we are going green flag racing here this time by front row Mitchell and Skelton. Skelton already picking up a win early on in this season. Zach Mitchell came oh so close, 1 lap short last week. He's hoping for some redemption. The iRacing pace car heads off of pit road, and here we go, folks. Zach Mitchell on the loud pedal. We go green flag racing here at Milwaukee. Mitchell gets away with a good start. He will get clear of Skelton. They will single file out 1-2. Now Ethan Troutman with the momentum on the high side. He will take over P number 3. Drag race down the backstretch between Souza and Theriault. Souza will drive it in there deep, let it wash on up, so Souza will take over 4th. 5th going to Theriault. And everyone quickly getting single file here tonight. First kind of side by side here, I believe, is Feeney and Coltes. As now Feeney able to get clear, so everyone's single filing out here very, very quickly. And look at this, Zach Mitchell already shot out of a cannon. He is trying to check out here early and doing just that. So Mitchell leading the way here. Best lap by anyone so far here tonight in the race. So he is definitely saying, we don't need to save anything. We're going to try and get as much gap as we can to this field. As you'll quickly see here, side-by-side racing can slow down your lap times. Well, that's an obvious statement by me, but here it is very tough to get around people. And if you start getting in that wrong lane, whew, you can be on the wrong end of a freight train and lose, you know, very quickly 3, 5, maybe even 7 spots if you're the likes of Souza or Terriel here at the front of this long line of cars behind. Sean Single looking to the outside of Chris Hammett here. He's going to try a different line through 3 and 4, but lose a little bit of time. That allows Williamson in the 61 machine to close up just that little bit more to the 11. As further up front here, Chris Hammett trying to make the move on Richard Murdoch. Murdoch up top in that 01 machine, Hammett down low. They will drag race down the backstretch, and looks like Murdoch able to defend so far here. They'll once again go side by side through 3 and 4, and Murdoch giving Hammett a ton of room down low. That's going to allow Hammett to really get a good run through the middle and draw almost even down the front stretch here. Right behind this battle, you kind of saw it on the right side of your screen. Michael Trevarthen swapping spots with Dalton Williamson. So Trevarthen trying to be on the move here early, up 3 spots from where he started. As yeah, look at that, Richard Murdoch able to defend that spot, but you can see the gap they then lose to Max Terriel, now about half a second in front of the 01 machine. Out in front, Zach Mitchell checked on out, but James Skelton says, you got the right idea, Zach. I'm going to do the same. So Skelton now within about 3 to 2 car lengths, and then a big gap over Ethan Troutman, currently running in 3rd. Looks like this battle for P number 6 not quite done yet. Chris Hammett once again to the inside of the 01 machine. This time looking a lot better for Hammett. Now Murdoch might be on that wrong line here as Sean Single tries to get a nose to the inside of that 01. Murdoch having all sorts of pressure on that rear bumper. We're going to try and look back here at the 11 here. Single once again tries that high lane. That opens up the door for Trevarthen to get to the inside. Trevarthen didn't quite get the run he needed off of turn number 2, so he will fall back in line as Sean Single now will try and go on the attack. So Single should maybe not, as here comes Murdoch rolling that top side at the apex. Now you got to wonder though, Murdoch doing good job defending from the top side. How is that right front or right rear gonna feel here, 10, 20 more laps into this run? Because you can defend up there. Oh, 3 wide here at Milwaukee. You don't see this too often, folks. As Single gets a little bit loose, Trevarthen saying, I'm just trying to pick one of your guys' lanes. As almost door contact. Here we go again. 3 wide off of turn number 2. Almost touching doors there with the 11 and 01. And Trevarthen backs on out of it in the 2. But once again, with him backing out, he can roll the center a lot faster and get once again a nose to the inside. And wow, these guys racing 3 wide now for pretty much a lap. This is impressive to watch, folks. As if I'm in Trevarthen's shoes, if I can't get this pass done, the best bet's probably just ride behind whoever's better. I would assume the 11, since he's got the shorter distance around the speedway, and then, wait to pick off Sean at a later time and not push the envelope right now, because all you're doing with making it 3 wide is slowing up the show for at least yourself. As once again, here we go, folks. As Single still just can't get around Murdoch. Murdoch, I gotta tip my cap to him. He's doing a great job hanging on to these spots here, but you can see with these guys running side by side, the 4 cars in front have checked out, and this draws up the back. You know, Ben Coltis, Brandon Feeney now joins this long line of cars. Out in front, we may have missed the pass, but James Skelton now out in front, leading the way in that 86 machine. Zach Mitchell-Foss is second. Then pretty much everyone running about the same last time we checked on them. As now Trevarthen trying to get around the 11 machine. He goes side by side with Single, as Single now on the top side. Looks like Single will let him on go, so now Trevarthen sets his sights on the 01 machine. As no Single, maybe with the crossover, he gets a nose to the left rear, but will back on out of it. One car on the move. It is the 6 machine, Chris Hammock, getting around Ethan Troutman. That was for P number 5. So these guys slowly reeling back in the leaders ever so slightly. So you gotta keep an eye on the likes of Souza, Terrill, and Chris Hammett. These guys really fast the last couple laps on by. As here we go, Max Terrill making the move on Jeff Souza. Souza up top will give that spot on up. He knows their bigger battle here is catching those 2 cars still way out there in front here tonight. We head back once again to that battle for P number 7 here. Trevarthen just quite hasn't got good enough of a run, as now he does off of turn number 4. He will go to the inside of the 01. Let's see if Trevarthen can maybe make the pass on Murdoch. Trevarthen, man, drove it in there deep. He gets clear, but here comes the run from the high side as Murdoch able to draw even and get an advantage by the time they get into turn number 3. About half a car length in front, but once again, Trevarthen has the shorter distance around in the corners. He just has to be able to put that big power down here tonight, and does do that. So Trevarthen now open track in front of him as Single gets into the back of, I believe, the 01 machine, maybe trying to get a nose in there, and some contact in the 11 of Sean Single goes on around for our first yellow of the night. We're going to take a look here at the replay and see what happened into turn number 1. So Trevarthen just gets by Murdoch. Murdoch lifts there, goes to the high side. Single maybe thinking there's a little bit of an opening and just didn't get that car low enough. He gets tagged by the 61 and the 11 goes on around. Man, Brandon Feeney doing a great job at some wreck avoidance, as it looks like no real damage to any of the cars involved. Well, with 20 laps down, I would have to guess pit road is about to be very, very busy here tonight. As we will take a wide camera on out, and here the field comes. James Skelton leads everyone down on pit road. We're going to have 17 cars down on pit road here tonight, as everyone tries to find where their stall is. And I would have to guess, we don't see anyone try any 2 tires or anything like that at this point of the race. A fifth of the way already down here, folks. As everyone down on pit road, we'll keep an eye here as Josh Buckley maybe missed his stall there. He rolls technically first car off of pit road. Skelton and then Terrill with a great stop. He will come out P number 2 of the cars that did stop there. As it looks like everyone rolling here once again. I'll keep an eye out, see if any cars drop on back with a penalty, but as of right now, looks like everyone's safely and no violations on pit road. As this time by, we'll see Josh Buckley head down pit road. So Skelton out in front, Max Terriot second, Zach Mitchell third, Jeffrey Souza fourth, and Chris Hammett rounding out the top five here tonight off of pit road. And lights already out on the pace car. We are going back to green flag racing here next time by. As we got someone cheering on Tony Strano. So Tony back here in the number 3, up 5 spots from where he started, almost the biggest mover so far. He's going to restart here tonight in the P number, I think, 11 spots. So Tony heading in the right direction here so far in the first fifth of tonight's race. As front row, Skelton, Terriot. I feel like we've seen this before early in the season as we get to go do it again here tonight at Milwaukee. Skelton going to be in control here as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road. Skelton on in, man, Terriot with a great reaction time. These guys going to be door to door diving down into turn number 1. Terriot's going to see what he has on the top side. It's going to be a drag race down the back stretch as well. Terriot with the advantage. He will get clear as Skelton and shut the door. Max Terriot, new race leader. Skelton in second. Zach Mitchell right there giving chase in third. So everyone single filed out for the top 4, then for 5th. Michael Trevarthen getting around Jeffrey Souza for that P number 5 spot. So if there's one guy that was hoping for the yellow, it was Trevarthen. He had a lot of pace there in that first 20 laps, but had a lot of gap there trying to get through the field. As one car in the wall there, that's the 38 of Brandon Feeney. He will keep that thing rolling, but some right side damage to that liquid moly number 38 machine. Looks like just mostly to that right front, but that could have very easily been, you know, just getting that wall on corner entry. These cars, it's kind of weird feeling. These bodies yawed out to the right, kind of, if you ever watch the truck series, let's say, you can see their right rear kind of cocked on out, trying to grab that fresh air. These Gen 4 cars have exactly that. Nicknamed kind of the twisted sister car. That's because these bodies skewed to the right, but where it comes to a challenge for these drivers is that right rear quarter panel sticking out further than you think. If you get a piece of the wall with it, it will suck you right in, and you got to really yank these cars off the wall to kind of get them to unstick to that wall. So that's probably what happened to Feeney there, to get a piece of the wall there on that restart. So now past quarter way done here tonight, and you know what, folks, I think it's time. We'll do it a little bit early here tonight. Let's do a little turn 3, turn it up, while we got a good bunch of cars out on the speedway. Man, oh man, you gotta love some Gen 4 Cup cars going by with the RPM these guys are turning and whatnot. Man, it is a great sound. As most everyone's kind of strung on out here, everyone trying to click down some laps, hit their marks. You see Sean Single trying to get around the 38 of that Feeney machine. Can't quite get the job done on the high side. As a 45 of Ben Coltis trying to maybe take advantage, especially if, you know, Single starts slicing up this field. That's the best time to pass someone. A Single big time out of sorts off of turn number 2. He will smack the wall big time and get some right front damage there to that 11 machine. Heck of a job keeping that car underneath him, but now you got to wonder, how is that car feeling here tonight? As it looks like he will try and get back around the 13 of Josh Buckley. So now with that little wiggle, I should say big wiggle off of turn number 2, only a net loss of 1 spot. Up in front, Max Terrell leads the way, but James Skelton right on the back bumper. Skelton really found some speed about 15 laps into a run. We're closing back on up at that point here, so we'll see if he has a little bit better long run pace than that 42. As Skelton, I think, got a piece of the wall right on corner entry. Had to enter very high. That car got upset there, but doesn't lose too much time at that. As here's Chris Hammett now putting the pressure to the number 8, our pole sitter, Zach Mitchell. And then right behind them, biggest mover so far, Michael Trevarthen, up to P number 5, up 7 spots from where he started in that P number 12 spot. Hammett continues to try and get a run on the number 8. So far, nothing doing. Let's ride on board with Chris Hammett here and take a lap around the historic Milwaukee Mile. You can hear the RPMs these cars are turning right before they lift. Almost 9,000 RPM. And you saw there Mitchell off of turn number 4. A little bit loose. These drivers trying to put down this whopping 900 horsepower at this very flat track. Pretty much once you get to that exit, you know, you're steering the car just with that throttle. Pretty much no wheel input. As you see Hammett, you know, put some wheel to the left, get that thing turned for the apex, and then right there, once you start rolling in the throttle, it's either straight or hanging on to the right a little bit. Battle for the race lead. Skelton within a car length down the straightaway. He is definitely in attack mode. If that 42 makes a mistake, it's going to be a tall order there. As once again Skelton, he's trying to make that high side work a little bit there in 3 and 4, but it is very tough to do it at Milwaukee. You don't have any extra banking, let's say, on that top side. The only thing you really have is that transition, but these cars definitely loose enough here tonight that we shouldn't see too many people trying to use that change in asphalt and concrete to get these cars to rotate, because you could just use that right foot of yours. Further on back, we got a battle between the Higgins, Bob Higgin and Rob Higgin, trying to duke it on out here tonight. Oh, it looks like Rob Higgins down on pit road. Oh, you saw the damage to the 40, so tough break for Rob Higgins, making an unscheduled pit stop. But I saw for a moment there that right front knocked way in on that car, probably broke a upper control arm if I had to guess. Man, Chris Hammett still trying to work around Mitchell. Mitchell doing a great job hitting his marks, not letting the pressure get to him from that back bumper, because he has two very fast race cars right behind him, that being the 6 and the 2. As we now go 40 laps complete here tonight of the 100, we get ever so closer to that halfway point here tonight at Milwaukee. Further on back, Josh Buckley getting around Sean Single, so Single probably still dealing with that damage to the number 11 machine, as Buckley will go on by the 13 car now, MP number 13. As Brandon Feeney now under fire. He's under fire from the 45 Dodge machine of Ben Coltis. As Colt is right in the tire tracks of that 38 machine, just trying to find a little bit more speed. As further on back, Single once again back by Josh Buckley here. Colt is definitely in striking distance. That time, man, Feeney, though, drives it in there deep into turn number 3. He will wash on up. Here comes Ben Coltis on the bottom side. They'll go side by side to the stripe, and Coltis half a car length advantage. Looks like Feeney will give on up that spot. So now Coltis trying to set his sights on Ken Allen. Allen so far kind of quiet night so far, up 3 spots though, and inside the top 10 in this 81 machine. So Ken Allen looking pretty good here. Nice quiet, nice hitting his marks. You know, that's what you need sometimes, especially at these tricky tracks like Milwaukee. Out in front, same still order. Daryl leading over Skelton. Skelton right on the back bumper here, but Chris Hammett losing some time to Zach Mitchell, and now Michael Trevarthen right on the back bumper of the 6, and Jeffrey Souza making up some time on these two in front of him. So yeah, looks like everyone evening out for the moment here. So as soon as I put the camera on a battle, folks, it seems like it just completely dissolves. So they must be watching the broadcast, knowing when I'm looking at him, and car in front says, let's turn her up, as, oh, Chris Hammett turning up a little bit too much off of turn number 4. He gets big time tire spin. He will lose a spot too. Looks like Mike Trevarthen there as Brandon Feeney down on pit road. Not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not, as now Jeffrey Souza gonna try and get around the 6, as Hammett probably gonna have to be a little cautious on corner exit here. Those tires definitely hot on the number 6. So Souza gonna try and take advantage of that. This guy trying to go back up through the field here again. Dalton Williamson trying to tag on to the back of this battle, but yeah, Hammett loses the spot to Trevarthen and Souza. Alrighty here, folks, so sounds like some drivers gonna try the short pit here. I believe Ken Allen this time from the radio chatter. I hear the 81 machine diving down on pit road. Yes, he does. And as you guys can see, a kind of tricky pit road. Just a notch opening in the front stretch wall. And these drivers going to have to make sure they hit the very slow, I want to say 35 mile an hour pit road. That time by, we see the 6 of Chris Hammett dive down on pit road, so he's going to be one of the first takers right around the top 5 down on pit road. So if you're like Soterio and Skelton here, who we're looking at, they're probably going to try and run out the run as long as possible. But this time by for Max Theriot, he will see cross flags here tonight at Milwaukee. Halfway down, halfway home in tonight's 100-lapper. Looks like Chris Hammett rolling off of pit road here. This pit road very narrow. Got to hit the blue line, then you can kind of turn it loose. So we will keep an eye on Hammett's lap time, see just how quickly he can cut up through this field. As here we go, James Skelton looking to the inside of Theriot. Couldn't quite get the run off of turn number 4, so gonna file back in line here. This time by, we see the 45 down on pit road, as well as the 30 of Bob Higgins. So sounds like most drivers taking 4 fresh tires, filling it up with the virtual Sunoco race fuel. And here we go, our leader Max Theriot down on pit road. Looks like Michael Trevarthen gets a woed up. You saw that thing kick on out underneath him, getting to that break-in. His last time by, Chris Hammett 30.45, James Skelton a 31.76. So right around a second to a second and a half faster, as we see Chris Hammett unlap himself the hard way here. And if I'm James Skelton, here we go, coming down pit road this time. Zach Mitchell also makes the dive down on pit road here. It looks like Jeffrey Souza going to be the first car to continue to stay on out. Ethan Troutman also staying out on the racing surface. Busy pit road here. Skelton, Mitchell, Murdoch, Buckley, all down on pit road here. So with that short pit, Chris Hammett only 2.5 seconds back from Max Theriot, as it looks like Ethan Troutman staying out another lap. So just kidding, as Jeffrey Souza and Troutman, both their gas tanks reading empty, they are down on pit road. So Max Theriot away in a great stop. Skelton, not sure how he ended up so much further back, as maybe just taking a little bit easy on coming to pit road, because there's only about a second difference in total pit stop time between the 86 and the 42, but now they're separated by over 4 seconds on the racing surface. I know Theriot was down a lap early, but man, I couldn't see him making up that much time. As we see Michael Trevarthen trying to get around this 86 machine. Looks like he will get a nose to the inside, but both them a little wiggle off of turn number 4. They will stay in their current running order. As I said, there probably wasn't going to be any strategy. Jeffrey Souza says, you know what? I'm going to be the man to prove you wrong here. As Souza from pit road 2 tires, that jumps him up all the way to P number 2. And then Chris Hammett with kind of the short pit stop, trying to undercut some time. He comes out up into P number 3. Best time by anyone on the speedway. Last time by was this number 8 machine of Zach Mitchell. So Mitchell pushing the envelope, trying to catch those 2 cars in front of him while he has a little bit of clean racetrack out in front. Off of turn number 2, looks like Dalton Williamson going to get around Ken Allen. Allen, another one that came to pit road early, trying to make up some times around. That moves Allen all the way up into P number 8 from that P number 10 spot. So we'll have to see how it works out in the long run, let's say, but so far looking like a pretty good strategy call from this 81 machine. Heating on up towards the bottom of the ticker here, Tony Strano. Big time wiggle off of turn number 4. Here comes Josh Buckley to try and take that spot away. Buckley will dive it down in there deep. Strano will swing it wide, and looks like Buckley will be able to clear the 3 machine. As here we go, battle for P number 3. James Skelton with those better tires, able to drive around Chris Hammett. Hammett will shut the door on Michael Trevarthen here. As one car stopped on the front stretch here. It's the Dodge number 45 machine of Ben Coltes, and that will bring out the caution flag for the second time here tonight. As we will take a look, see what happened to the 45. Looks like has Ethan Troutman right on the back bumper here and off of turn number 4. You kind of saw the hop of the back end there. He hit that bump wrong, unsettled the car, tried to keep it off the wall, at least only tagged a little with the right side, but Josh Buckley having nowhere to go, trying to predict where the 45 will go. Make some pretty significant contact with that right side of that 13 machine. Doesn't actually look too bad, but maybe that's because just how the Sharpie paint scheme looks. So we head back up to pit road. Once again, going to be very busy for these lead lap cars. Max Harrell leads the way down pit road, and man, I tell you what, the likes of Jeffrey Souza walking away here with a big smile on his face. He's able to pit from P number 2, so that strategy call working out nicely for that number 4 crew. Souza says, let me run it back here. We'll just top off with some fuel and get back out on the speedway, so he will win the race off of pit road. Michael Trevarthen, a little bit of strategy as well for the two tires. First car on 4 will be Max Terriot, then Dalton Williamson saying, hey, I want some track position as well. He will take 2. Chris Hammett with 4 fresh tires rolling off in 5th. So a jumble of strategy here in the top 5 as we now race in the second half of tonight's race. It's going to be awesome, folks. So with this pit cycle, we see a new race leader, that being the 4 of Jeffrey Souza. Pretty much 2 cars in the top 5 right now looking for their first wins of the season. That being the 2 running in P number 2 of Mike Trevarthen, and then our 5th place runner, the 6 of Chris Hammett. Both those guys looking for their first wins of the season, and then pretty much everyone else behind James Skelton also looking for their first win, but a lot of guys looking for repeat wins in the top 5, at least at this moment, with under 40 laps to go. This time by at the stripe, we should see the lights go out on the iRacing pace car and around the Milwaukee Raceway, and then we will double them up, re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to turn them back loose for the final 35 laps here tonight. I believe everyone should make it on fuel from this 35 lap mark to the finish, so fuel no longer an issue for these drivers. Now it comes down to managing tires, guessing those yellow flags correctly, and wheeling these race cars to the absolute limit. So front row, Jeffrey Souza leading the way. Mike Trevarthen to his outside. Here we go, folks. iRacing pace car will head down to pit road. Souza leading the way. He will jump on the loud pedal here. Trevarthen with a good reaction on the top side. These guys will dive down into turn number 1. Trevarthen with a big arc here. He's going to try and put that power down on the top side. Souza able to clear out in front. Trevarthen now under big time pressure. He misses the entry to turn number 3. Maybe has an issue to the 2 as he will drop all the way to the back. So not sure what's going on here with Trevarthen, but maybe a penalty as he heads down pit road. I think they may have got him for jumping that restart there. I don't know if it was a jump there, folks. That is a tough break for the number 2. Max Terrio making quick work to the front here with those 4 fresh tires. Dalton Williamson now up to P number 2. This guy is really good at these technical kind of short track driving tracks, and he is showing that here as he goes up to P number 2. Chris Hammett up to P number 3. Skelton trying to get around Susan. Looks like that call of no tires definitely not the right call for Souza's. Already back to P number 5 and now seeing a lot of fresh tires in that rearview mirror. As old man Trevarthen once again back down on pit road, so his night going from bad to worse. As further on back here we see Brandon Feeney and Tony Strano duking it out side by side with Ken Allen waiting right behind them. As Allen will make the hard left turn, try and get to the inside of the number 3 machine. He will be able to get a nose down, but who will be able to put the power down better off of turn number 4? It looks like Allen able to tiptoe that car, get a little bit loose, but able to stay even now by the time they head to turn number 1. So great battles all over the speedway. Now Strano as here we go, Allen once again shorter distance around that bottom side, able to get clear of Strano. As man, our pole sitter Zach Mitchell almost falling out of the top 10 here. Not sure what's going on with the 8, but that speed definitely not what we saw earlier in this race for Zach Mitchell. So out in front, it is Max Terrio leading the way. Dalton Williamson in second. James Skelton trying to get back up to the front. He is P number 3, closing the gap to that 61 machine. Fourth going to the 6 of Chris Hammett. As here we go, Skelton to the inside of Williamson. He drove it in there deep to get a nose to the inside of the 61. These two will drag race down the backstretch here, and looks like Williamson will let him go on by, try and lose as little time as possible, because Williamson knows those cars around him on better tires. He is the only one up here on the 2-tire strategy here. Further on back, just inside of the top 10, Ken Allen now putting the pressure on Brandon Feeney, as Feeney catching our pole sitter Zach Mitchell as well. These guys, great battle here from Souza in 6th position. One guy we forgot to mention rebounding pretty nice back where he started. That's the 01 machine of Richard Murdoch. He sits P number 5, but here's 6th on back is the group of cars we are looking at here. Sean Single getting around Souza for 6th, as now Zach Mitchell going to try and get around the 4. Mitchell will make the late move, dive it down in there to the inside of Souza. Now we'll aim low, try and get a straight run off, as looks like he will be able to clear Feeney with a big time wiggle. Man, Ken Allen able to get the nose to the inside of the 38 machine. That was close. One thing that really can't happen here in iRacing with these cars is kind of bumper contact. You can't really give anyone a bump and run with these ARCA or Gen 4 cars because these noses are kind of so low and such at an angle, and these rear bumpers are so high that if you tap someone, you're pretty much just lifting their rear tires right off the ground and pretty much right away gonna loop them right off your nose. So these guys got to be careful with where they place their nose, but man, everyone doing a great job at that. As we see Sean Single with a little bit of a mistake there. Something happened. Looks like some right side damage. Not sure if that's more than what he had before, but that allows Zach Mitchell to get back up to P number 6. As it seems like all night long, Single's Achilles heel has been this turn number 2 exit. That time better on bias. We see right behind them Brandon Feeney trying to get around the 4 of Jeffrey Souza. And folks, we are already in that time. It is countdown clock time. 24 laps to go as your battle for a podium spot. Chris Hammett putting the pressure to the back bumper of the 61 of Dalton Williamson. I think this battle far from over here. Hammett on better tires. Williamson just trying to hang on to as much as he can. As here we go, Hammett able to get the nose to the inside of the 61. They draw even at the apex, but Williamson on the better line to put down this big horsepower here tonight. He will once again be able to hang on to that spot. Further on back, Brandon Feeney and Ken Allen both getting around Jeffrey Souza. As Hammett once again big time sideways off of turn number 4. And man, didn't lose too much time. Even with that big time tire spin, able to stay to the inside of the 61. These guys throwing out whatever they have left in these cars here tonight, trying to get this final podium spot. Talk to me at the end of this race. As these guys have been side by side now, I want to say for at least 3 laps, if not more. Further on back, battle for P number 6. Zach Mitchell and Sean Single duking it out for their spot, but we got to keep an eye on this battle here. It has been a good one up to this point, and still side by side, both these guys dancing their cars, especially off of turn number 4. Hammett will drive it in there deep. He'll wash on up. Here comes Williamson with the crossover. Williamson down low. Chris Hammett way up the racetrack as Williamson able to get the spot back. Wow, what a move. Man, oh man, what a battle for P number 3 out in front. Max Theriault continue to lead the way. Hammett into the wall here, and that's that wall glue I was talking about, folks. He got stuck in that wall all down that front stretch there. So that's what I mean. You get that right rear just a little too close to that wall, and that thing sucks that whole right side of the car in, and you're pretty much stuck riding that wall until you yank it off the wall, or by the time you get to corner entry and kind of as gracefully as you can walk it on off. But Hammett not done yet. He is already closing back up on the back bumper of the 61 machine. And one guy that is liking what he's seeing out of his front windshield is this 01 of Richard Murdoch. As these guys continue to battle, he keeps on creeping up closer and closer to these two. This time by at the stripe, we will see 17 laps to go, and I hear once again some chatter on the radio, Ken Allen down on pit road, so maybe we still have one more stop in the books before it's all said and done. And yeah, if I'm the likes of anyone mid-pack, I'm trying to cut this thing as short pit as possible, as we saw a lot of guys make up some time, and with how difficult it is to pass here tonight. Yeah, we see now the 6 of Hammett bringing along Richard Murdoch down on pit road. Man, Hammett right to the limit of pit road speed. Sean Single down as well. And if I'm these race leaders, especially Dalton Williamson, who was trying to hold off that 6, I'm heading into pit road this time by, because we can see how difficult it is here to pass tonight. Off of turn number 4, James Skelton able to reel in Max Harold about a second gap for the race lead. So Skelton about a 10th faster a lap the last couple of times on by. So man, it's a tough call if you're like Skelton, because you know you have the better long run pace, but you gotta hope that, you know, Terriel doesn't come down on pit road here too early for you. As it seems like most of the guys staying on out either going to try and stretch their fuel to the finish or really split this thing on even to the end, because now we kind of hit the halfway point in this final run here tonight. So you can see the gap there for first and second. Terriel able to turn up the wick just a little bit, increasing that gap to now just over a second distance here tonight, with now 13 laps to go. As a little mistake from our race leader Max Terriel in the wall there, was able to not lose too much time, but here we see Josh Buckley on new tires trying to get around the 42 machine. And I'm sure Max, like, if you got to run, just go and take it here. I'm trying to keep James Skelton at bay, as Skelton definitely liking what he's seeing there. Now within going to be probably 0.7 of a second when it's all said and done here. But now Skelton going to have to deal with some new tires. He's going to pull down pit road with Max Terriel. So it's going to be a battle on pit road. I believe both them safely on down. Dalton Williamson also going to come down here on pit road. So Zach Mitchell, only car out here. Maybe, folks, all we hear here, I'm going to go right on board, see if you guys can hear what Zach Mitchell's doing here tonight. You hear it here in turn number 3. This is why the pace was slower for Zach Mitchell. He's going to try and stretch the distance, clutching this car on corner entry, going to try and save as much fuel as possible for the number 8. As we will have to see if this works out for the number 8. Has to save still 10 laps to go. It's going to be a long save, as Max Harold back on the racing surface, about 12 seconds back. I don't think that's going to be enough time, because these guys going to be running 2 seconds faster. It's going to be close, just purely on pace. As we see Chris Hammett and James Skelton duking it out for position here. Looks like most people that did come down on pit road either took just fuel or just right side tires. As Zach Mitchell out in front, Brandon Feeney closing on in here tonight. This could be a awesome win here. It's Zach Mitchell trying to save. Did Feeney already save enough in that 38 machine and can push the envelope? You can tell Feeney definitely faster here, so Mitchell's got to do that tough mental dance in his head. Does he allow Feeney go on by? Does he turn up the wick and risk not having enough fuel by the time the checkered flag flies? Oh man, folks, 7 laps to go. Max Terriel now 8 seconds back, about now a quarter track back from our race leaders, but I don't think it's going to be enough time. Has been clicking down that time, but it is going to be close. 8 seconds and 7 laps. He definitely has the pace. Can he navigate through the cars in front of him in time? Terriel will quickly go around Jeffrey Souza. Souza once again, no tires that stop, just taking fuel, trying to get that track position. Still gonna hang on, it looks like, to P number 5 for sure. P number 6 is the last car running in this group for a top 5 spot. Will be Chris Hammond, as we see Brandon Feeney down on pit road. So now Mitchell, all he has to worry about is either Ethan Troutman running in second, I think, trying to save, but here comes Max Terriel on a mission. Terriel trying to run qualifying laps here tonight, trying to get as much of that gap eliminated as Ethan Troutman. If he can hang on, stay on out on the race, he would have himself a great finish here tonight. Still hanging on to a P number 3 spot. Yeah, Max Terriel able to make that gap smaller and smaller here. Now closing up to 4 seconds back with 4 laps to go. Further on back here, Chris Hammond does get around the number 4 machine of Jeffrey Souza, so move Hammond up to P number 3. It will be close if he can get to Ethan Troutman, who sits about 2 seconds in front of the number 6. But here we go, out in front, Zach Mitchell trying to hit that pace, save those tires, and this won't help his cause, getting stuck on the high side here. But off of turn number 2, we will see popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go here at Milwaukee, and now Max Terriel, no cars in between them. Terriel within 2 car lengths. What does Mitchell have left? As Terriel looking to the inside, here is the battle for the race lead. Max Terriel down low, Zach Mitchell up top. Mitchell has to let him on go to try and stretch this field to the finish. Off of turn number 4, Max Terriel will see the white flag. 1 more lap to go here tonight at Milwaukee. Looks like Chris Hammond does get around Ethan Troutman for that P number 3 spot. The question is, does Zach Mitchell have enough for this Feeney Call white flag here, as 1 car very slow? That's the 2 of Michael Trevarthen. I think he is out of fuel on the backstretch. And off of turn number 4, picking up another win this season, Max Terriel. It's going to head to victory lane. Oh man, Zach Mitchell off of turn number 4, out of fuel. Chris Hammond will finish second. Ethan Troutman third. Zach Mitchell will limp his car across the line to P number 4. Wow. What a run there tonight. Coming down to the white flag with a lot of strategy, but Max Terriel once again overcoming the odds, and he will celebrate down here on the front stretch. Max Terriel gonna burn it on down. As we see the 42 machine woe on up, I believe head down to turn number 1 to burn it on down. Looks like maybe not. Maybe just gonna slow roll it to the front stretch here. Park at the start finish line, and we will head up to the Claws Up Charters post race shows. Yeah, I think maybe Max Darrow with the splash and go, maybe out of fuel. So we'll have to ask him in the post race show right after this. Don't go anywhere, folks. We will be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, back here at the Milwaukee Mile for the Claws Up Charters post-race show. We'll first be talking to, you can see on your screen there, our third place finisher, Ethan Troutman. Ethan, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, sir. Hello again.
Hello, hello. How are we feeling? You were able to stretch that fuel to the finish. Tell us about that final run there.
Yeah, after that last caution, I knew we were going to be about 3 or 4 laps short. At the time, I didn't really plan on backing off and saving, but I got into the wall there and lost some spots. So at that point, I'm like, maybe I have damage. Might as well back it off and see what I can do.
Yeah, I tell you what, Ethan, a great strategy call. Having enough fuel to the end as Zach Mitchell runs out off of turn number 4, let's say, you're able to snag that P number 3 spot and, you know, help out those points, because right now in the second half of this regular season, you sit P number 2 in the points, you know, best points finisher without a win yet this season.
Yeah, points-wise, I'm having a career season. I've never been able to put this many podium and top 5 finishes together. So I'm feeling pretty good about the playoffs. But yeah, getting past Zach there to take third at the last second, I actually ran out right as I passed him. I just had a little more momentum to kind of drift by him.
Yep, got that one last sputter and said you got to put it to the floor at that point and hope it's enough. And Ethan, tonight it was for you. Man, that was exciting, and I'm sure probably a little bit stressful there in the car.
Yeah, I was kind of babying it the whole race because he could step out any second on you coming out of the corner, even getting close to the start-finish line. The back tires could break at any time. So, yeah, the name of the game for the first part of the race was just saving tires and keeping the car clean. So that kind of had me in position already to where I was comfortable, maybe giving up a little time to, save at the end.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Ethan, even though, difficult track, you qualified in the top 5, showing a lot of speed. I mean, like you said, Ethan, a great season so far. And I mean, anything different, what has been kind of leading to the success that it's probably only a matter of time before you walk away with a win?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's I don't know, subconscious. I have no idea. The only thing I can think of is I've been a little more patient trying to keep a eye on my tire wear. You know, I'll let somebody go. I'll back off. I try not to chase too much if I know tires are a situation. Other than that, I don't know. It's just kind of everything's just kind of coming together and getting some lucky breaks.
Yeah, and that's half the battle with racing there is those lucky breaks. And Ethan walking away with another podium here this season. Gotta be feeling good with a pretty decent buffer to that cutoff line. I think unless something crazy happens, you should start looking to those playoffs. And how do you feel when it comes playoff time?
Playoffs is when the big dogs get their big guns out. So it's a whole different story when we get there. So just going to focus on continuing what I've been doing, and hopefully it carries on through the playoffs.
Yeah, I hope so as well, Ethan. As great season so far you have been putting together with the 62. And speaking about that, you've gotten pretty good at these interviews. I'm going to go let you do the magic once again here. Thank who you got to thank, either on the car or maybe tuning on in at home.
Yeah, this might be the most I've had in a season. Of course, shout out to you for the broadcast and Turn 3 Racing Network, to the admins, everybody else who shows up to race. Shout out to Mike. Got him a podium with his Mike's Deviled Egg car. Shout out to Mom. I know she's watching. And we've actually got some viewers in Central America tonight. Hannah and Zach are watching from Costa Rica. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is pretty cool, Ethan. Well, glad you got a podium here. Shout them on out. And I tell you what, I'm sure you'll be keeping that momentum. We head to Chicagoland in the trucks next week. It's going to be all about drafting in that momentum. How do you feel for that race?
It should be good. It shouldn't be too hard of a driver's track. It's going to be more about track position and working together with other trucks out there.
All righty, going to lean on those teammates. Well, Ethan, you have yourself a great rest of the night and keep stringing together these finishes. It's always a pleasure talking to you, my man.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All righty, folks. That was our third place finisher, able to string it from lap 61 to the end. Ethan Troutman keeping enough fuel on and in the car. Now we head over to our runner-up finisher, that being the 6 of Chris Hammett. Chris, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I got you, Brett.
All righty, man. This race, a little bit up and down for you. A lot kind of around the top 5. A lot of great battles, especially you and I believe it was a 61 of Dalton Williamson. Tell us about your race tonight, Chris.
Well, as I'm sure you saw, I tried to throw it away about, 50 times for this race. This thing was a handful, man, and trying to get on a run to get underneath of somebody was really hard because it just wanted to spin the tires so bad. And then if you even got there, they could kind of pinch you down there, and it made it really hard to try to get by somebody, even if you were faster than them, which I felt like I was better than Dalton. And I just couldn't get around him. I'm not sure how I ended up here, to be honest. That is probably the least deserved second place finish I've ever had. I felt like we were 5th, 6th, somewhere in that range. I think Max, Zach, Skelton, Souza was pretty quick. I think they were a little better than us. But I've thrown away plenty of top 5 finishes already this season, so I'll chalk this one up to karma. And we'll take second here and move on.
Yeah, Chris, and I saw it all race long, at least with your team, with the strategy calls. A lot of short pitting here tonight to get that track position out in front. You mentioned it was very tough to pass. I mean, how was it to have a mirror full of cars with kind of better tires than you, but able to hold them on and then make up all that time with that short pin that seemed to work out every time you did it here tonight?
Yeah, it worked out. Definitely caught the cautions at the right time. If that third run had gone green, I think we would have been in a little bit of trouble there doing that. But that's the risk versus reward. Just being back in traffic and kind of fighting with guys, you're running even slower than what you would be on old tires anyway. So I've been been burned a couple times this year not being aggressive enough, and I've been burned doing this and being too aggressive. One caution comes out before everything cycles, and you're buried a lap down and all that fun stuff. So just tonight caught the right cautions. I wasn't part of the fuel saving gang. That is not my strong suit. If you want me to save gas, you better put a bigger gas tank in it because that that ain't happening. So just kind of splitting that last run up. Saw those guys take two earlier, and it worked on the short run for them. So took two there. Ran some guys down. Some guys ran out of gas. So and here we are sitting in second place again. So like I said, I don't know if I really deserve this one. We didn't have second place speed tonight, but we've had top three speed in quite a few races this year, and just kind of let those slip away. So it's good to get that monkey off our back here, heading into these playoffs here in about a month.
Yeah, I tell you what, a great finish for you, and yeah, hopefully some good momentum for you. As right now I believe you sit sixth in the points here, right in the middle of it. But walking away here tonight, definitely helping that cause. And how you feeling when it comes to these playoff times? I mean, Chicagoland next weekend, the truck's gonna be drafting momentum, but then playoff time, a lot of different cars, a lot of different tracks. How you feeling when it comes to that time?
I feel good. We have speed. Even tonight, which this type of this car here, on this type of racetrack is not my strong suit. We still have top five speed most of the time. And we've had plenty of top three speed. A few poles this season, led some laps. It's just cleaning up the mistakes that I've been making. Which tonight I made about half a mistake a few times, but I feel good if we can just put whole races together. But so much can happen in these things. One bad caution and then you're buried in 15th, and that's it. But I would love to make another Final Four run. It's been a couple seasons since I've been there, so I think I got another Final Four run in me. See if I can't give these big boys something to worry about come championship time. But that's a long ways away. Just gotta keep defenders on it. No penalties, no mistakes, and I think we'll be hanging around when we roll into Michigan or somewhere. I think we were going to Michigan for the championship, so hopefully we can keep the speed up and keep this train rolling.
Yeah, I hope so as well, Chris. As like you said, when you string them together, you are one of the guys to beat here in this series. So before we let you go, I got to ask, what's your sim setup looking like these days? I like to give a little insight for the fans watching at home, and have, brag what you got either in front of you for wheel and pedals, and maybe what you're looking at.
I got one monitor that's about, I don't know, 20 inches wide. It's not very big. I got a old belt-driven Thrustmaster wheel that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. So that thing's hanging in there. I do have Fanatec pedals, so I do have nice pedals. That's about it. And I got a computer that will run iRacing, and that's about it. It's got some pretty lights on it though. So yeah, nothing fancy over here. No special rig to sit in. I got a chair on wheels, that is weighted down by a weighted blanket that I have to lay behind me so I don't roll away. So we are the bargain basement sim setup team. So yeah, when I beat people, it's imagine what I could do if I had something real fancy.
Exactly, Chris. I think your next upgrade for sure has to be triple screens, because looking at a little 20-inch monitor, man, I don't know how you're battling side by side with some of these guys.
Yeah, I am accepting donations. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. And any donations are greatly accepted. I'll get your name put on the car. I'll put your name across the windshield or whatever. So yeah, donations are accepted. Find me on all socials. My name is Chris Hammett. There's only a couple of us, so I'm the one that drives race cars.
All right, there you go. Well, if you're looking to get some publicity and need a name on a car, Chris Hammett's your guy, and I'm sure you could put that money to good use. Well, Chris, speaking about names on the cars and whatnot, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you here for this runner-up finish and thank who you got to thank, either on the Six Machine or tuning on in at home.
For first and foremost, gotta thank my awesome fiance Ashley for letting me come back here and do this every week. So I love you, baby. Shout out to the guys at 4X Racing, Zach, Sean, and Ryan. Zach had a really fast car tonight. Just I told him he could let me by, but I didn't expect him to run out of gas coming out of four. So, but we show up with speed every week. We've been right there for wins. Just need some things to break our way. So shout out to everybody at 4X Racing. The One Time Burger Bar. One Time is still out here kicking. If he can stop shooting himself in the foot, maybe One Time can get back into victory lane. The admins, Josh and Richard and James do a fantastic job. I love running this series. It's a lot of fun. So can't thank them enough. Shout out to you, Brett, for broadcasting these things. Everybody in this series is great. It's really fun to race against them. So congrats to Max on another dominating performance. Maybe one day we'll get up there with him, but congrats to him, and we'll move on to Chicago.
Alrighty, Chris. Well, pleasure talking to you here tonight in the Claws Up Charters post-race show. You have yourself a great one, and continue this momentum next week to Chicagoland.
Thanks, Brett. Have a good one, buddy.
Alrighty, you as well. That is our second place finisher, Chris Hammett. Now we head down to victory lane and talk to the man of the hour. Now going back to back, it is Max Terriot. Max, do you got a copy?
Hey, Brett.
Oh man, back to back, two totally different tracks, Max. How you feeling here tonight? Once again, down in victory lane.
Yeah, it definitely is different. Well, these cars make any track drive different than what we're used to. Let's say with the trucks and the Xfinity, there's so much power on corner exit. It's really easy to light up the tires. You have to be on top of the wheel from lap 1 to lap 100, like tonight, to really keep the car straight.
Yeah, and it seemed like, everyone was battling corner exit, let's say, both turn 2 and then especially turn 4, especially if you hit that bump wrong. I mean, I assume you found where that bump was in practice and tried to make sure you didn't hit it out at all when it came race time, because, man, when you got some clean air, that 42 machine, once again, very fast.
Yeah, I learned a lot from last night's practice. I used up way too much tire, and on the long run, I faded back. So tonight, the first run, and then the next to last run, that's what I focused on. Just saving tires and trying to reach maybe a third of the race on fuel. And but the way the cautions fell, it changed the strategy a bit. And in the end, the 2-tire call made all the difference.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go to that strategy call there at the end. You probably not good on fuel, knew you had to come down, and then, like you said, taking those 2 tires and then having to make up. I think you were back all the way 13 seconds with about 16 laps to go. I mean, what's going through your mind at that point, and making that call as well to pull in from the race lead and say, I got to go chase these guys down?
Yeah, I felt like with about 12 to go, that was the latest I should pit if I take tires, which I did 2 tires on the right side. Otherwise, probably wouldn't have had the advantage that I had for the last 11 laps. I thought more guys took 2 tires in front of me. I thought they may have split the last fuel run in half, and I thought it would have been more difficult to pass them one by one, but from what I noticed, once I caught up to them, they pretty much either went fuel only earlier in the run, so I still had a little bit of an advantage. And I tried to save the left front before that last pit stop. I didn't mind that the 86 would catch me with about a tenth or two for every lap, because I expected also him to change 2 tires, but he didn't, so I just sailed off, needing enough pace to pass the 8 car.
Yeah, and that you had enough pace to pass him coming to the white flag and then set sail, Max. And I tell you what, another great win here tonight. and almost another last lap pass. And these races have been exciting, but we head to Chicagoland next week where you got to work with some teammates, keep that momentum, especially in the trucks around that place. How you feeling about that? That could be a pretty big wild card besides Talladega still left.
Yeah, racing the trucks at Chicagoland is probably a tight racing deal. It drives different 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if you save enough tires, especially on corner exits, that's where you make the most speed. But with the trucks being so equal on the long run, you stay in the pack for longer than, let's say, the cars that we had tonight. So it's again, it's going to be a different type of race, even though it's a mile and a half standard track. We'll see more pack racing, I guess.
Yep, and that's the beauty of the Scrambler series. Let's say, a lot of different driving styles you guys have to put on each and every week, and just the combos that we see, it's impressive to see you picking up. I think this is win number 4 of the season, so pretty impressive there. Sorry, win number 4.
Yeah, you don't count those on Thursdays, on Mondays.
Well, Max, once again, back here in the Claws Up Charters post race show. You gotten good with these interviews. I'm sure you've gotten to know me a little bit here in the booth. But once again, man, down in victory lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, either on the car or tuning on in at home for another great win.
Hey, thanks, Brett. It's always good talking to you after a race. So we'll try to keep it going. And also, as usual, my fiance, my friend Max, and my dad. Shout out to Zach Mitchell. He's had 2 great weeks that didn't get the results that maybe he should have had. Probably a win coming soon in the future for him. So don't count him out. Either before the end of the season or the regular season or the playoffs. So Chris and Ethan. Ethan is also on a good roll to start the season. He's very consistent, so a good start to the season. And as always, Checkered Flag Auto Supply for sponsoring this series. Their support is greatly appreciated.
Alrighty, Maxwell, we'll let you go party it down here at Milwaukee in Victory Lane, and we'll wrap up with the post-race show here, and I'll join you once again down in Victory Lane. You guys know how to party it on up, so Max, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week at Chicagoland.
All right, thanks, Brett. See you guys next week.
Alrighty, folks, that was Max Theriault down in Victory Lane. And let's get this Claws Up Charters post-race show wrapped on up. That, of course, final thing to do, run through tonight's finishing results. Picking up the win will be the 42 of Max Theriault, the 4th win of the season. Second place going to the 6th of Chris Hammett, finally in the podium spots. It was good talking to Chris there. And then Ethan Troutman, he is on a roll of consistency. He rounds out the podium positions in P number 3. Zach Mitchell coming up so close there at the end. Will finish 4th, and 5th going to the 86 of James Skelton. Finishing in P number 6 will be the 01 of Richard Murdoch. 7th going to the 4 of Jeffrey Souza. Finishing P number 8 will be the 11 of Sean Single. 9th going to the 61 of Dalton Williamson. Rounding out the top 10 will be Ken Allen in the 81. 11th going to Brandon Feeney in the 38. 12th is Tony Strano in the 3. 13th is Bob Higgins in the 30. 14th going to Michael Trevarthen in the 2. 15th going to Bob Higgins in the 40. 16th is Josh Buckley. And then rounding out the field tonight will be the 45 machine of Ben Coltis. So that will do it here for the Claws Up Charters post-race show. Of course, got to thank all of the series sponsors making the Red Light Racing Scrambler series happen. That, of course, being the main sponsor, Checkered Flag Auto Supply, Celeratus Legal, the Feeney Call, and of course, Claws Up Charters. If you want to find out more, be sure to check out Red Light Racing on Google to be tuned in for next season if you want to run with these guys, because it is getting so close to playoff time, and then that means another new season. Of course, got to shout out all the live viewers here tonight. I think we had some pretty good view counts here tonight. I think we had about 15 or so with the peak. So got to appreciate all you guys tuning on in, and still 7 here. So got to give all you guys a shout out for tuning on in and some reason listening to me talk. I've, of course, been Brett the Jet with Turn 3 Racing Network. Turn 3 partnered with Premier. You can see the logo on the bottom right of your screen. If you want to support Turn 3, at least click the link in the description. That will take you to Premier there, and you can check out what they have to offer. Even if you don't know you want to buy anything, at least click the link, show some support, show us that we got some traction going on to that site. And of course, with Turn 3, be sure to tune in throughout the week as these guys race on Tuesday nights, being broadcasted with Roger Muth in the booth. And then, of course, a lot of great racing action that you can find. And, of course, some of the best sim racing coverage YouTube has to offer. Everyone, take care. Have a great week. We will catch you next week at the Chicagoland Speedway. You won't miss it. That will be some close, tight pack racing, and it should be a barn burner. So everyone, take care, stay safe, and we will catch you next week. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.